It's so wonderful to meet you. We loved you before we even knew you, but as soon as we saw you in the elevator speaking about love, we fell in love.
Oh, well, I'm in love with you guys too. You guys have an amazing story. So I'm here to listen to it all, and let's just enjoy together.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Rather than,
Prior to that, bars were actually not bars, they were nightclubs, and they were dark, they didn't have windows, because you could be arrested for being queer. So, and they were fun to be seen from the outside. So, this was a big statement.
So the Twin Peaks Tavern was opened in 1972 by two women, Peggy Forrester and Marianne Kuhnhaupt. And they had a very pioneering move. What they did was they took the glass that was painted and took the paint off of it. And we were the first bar in the United States to have clear glass window of this scale where the customers could be seen from the inside.
Yeah.
And it was a very pioneering move because back then you could get fired, you could get arrested, fired from your job.
Back in June of 1969 at the Stonewall Inn in New York City, Greenwich Village, the queer community decided they'd had enough of police harassment. So, led by African American drag queens, they fought back, and they would not accept the police treating them as second-class citizens that could just be thrown around. And so that was the symbolic beginning of the modern LGBTQ rights movement in America. There's a long history before that, building up to that moment, but that is seen as sort of the symbolic beginning. And in some ways, the movement is a story of both the East Coast and the West Coast, if you will, New York and San Francisco, but it's a story of this whole nation in between and everybody. And so it's nice, we're sitting right here in San Francisco at this first bar that said, no, just like in Stone, we're gonna open up. We're not ashamed of who we are. We're gonna take that risk. 1972, 3 years after Stonewall. So it's a nation coming together for equality for everybody. Away the right to marry. And it was a horrible thing when we lost the right to marry. But something happened that the opponents of equality didn't count on. Prop 8 was so offensive to so many people that it made it not just about marriage. It made it about our dignity. It made it about that is just not the way you treat people. You don't take away the right to marry. It's never been done before in the history of the country. And so we're in a sort of Prop 8 moment. And at Prop 8, when that happened, it was devastating. And we were on a call, and I remember saying, okay, this is terrible, but what's the best thing? What's the best thing that happened today? Is there anything good that happened? And we thought about it, and the answer was there were, I think, over 5 million people who voted in favor of LGBT rights. We barely lost. And so never before had that many people said yes to gay rights. And so that was the seed of going forward. Because that outrage at what happened, the No Hate campaign, it just spread across the country. And it brought the education level about our real lives up to a place it had never been before. So I don't know if we're at another moment like that, where it's horrible. Many of the things that are happening, from the Supreme Court to climate change to healthcare to just the destruction of respect from the White House, right? So maybe we're at a moment, if we say, what's the best thing, if more people come together and say, no, we can't go on this way, we've got to come together. It's got to stop. We're better than this. That's my fervent hope, and you embody that, because that's exactly what your message is.
It's so funny that you feel that way about my moment and how I proceed, especially, you know, in the We Got a Voice 2-pack. Because I feel the same way about you guys. With the story you guys have and the way you guys fought and continue to fight. And, you know, I mean, it's 2020 now and it was early 2000s, but a lot drastically really has not changed other than the right to be married. You know, things can backtrack or change, you know. It might be a lot of people that are against it again.
Yeah.
So thank you guys very much for opening your history to me. It's just a blessing even to be here, be able to hear it. And of course, I'm part of LGBTQ as well. And it's very inspiring to me. So,
You know what I love? Elevator story is they're both stories of being in the right place at the right time. And then what did you do with it? And in our case, we got to get married and change the world. And what did you get to do? You got to nominate the next president of the United States. And then take that message across the country. So, props to you.
thank you very much.
And I think the moment I saw you, I feel as if we're kindred spirits.
Oh, absolutely.
And because just as Stuart was saying, we were at that rally and we had no idea that morning when we got up what was going to happen to us. And we got to get married and be one of the first 10 couples to do that. And you got up that morning and you had no idea that Joe Biden was kind of walking to your elevator and you were going to get to talk to him as a real person.
Absolutely.
And we took advantage of the moments, and if either of us had not said we're here and we want to be ourselves in this real moment, if we hadn't taken that risk to go to the rally, if you hadn't taken that risk to share your heart with Joe Biden, we would not be sitting here today in San Francisco, California at the historic Castro and Market and sharing our lives together and working for a common cause.
The more you give, I forget all my flaws, child. Yeah, you loved me when I didn't have a damn thing. You loved me when my faith was fading. You loved me when I fell into the black. You brought me back, you pulled me out of it. The waves of your love, the face of your voice, the taste of your skin.
But it's also an opening for me to know my own history, especially within this community. Now I can tell other people, which is awesome to me. This is great. This has been great.
The thing about history, it keeps on giving, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or I don't know if you know the slogan, each one, teach one.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yep. One of my favorites.
You're living it.
Stuart and John, they are the best.
Amen. Like you do, say what you say to me, whisper things sweetly. I can't stand you leaving, falling for you, dear, falling.
And he went into the mayor's office, and the mayor was there, and he shot him point blank. Killed him. He reloaded his gun, walked down the hall to Harvey Milk's office. Harvey Milk had his hands up, and he shot him. Killed him. And then he ran and escaped. And so, one former member of the city council, he had just resigned, he shoots the mayor of San Francisco and kills him, and Supervisor Harvey Milk. And Harvey Milk had actually feared that they would come. And so he recorded a message to everybody to be played in the event of his assassination. And it said, you know, please don't get angry or use your anger to change the world, to come out to whomever you can, wherever you are. Because my life is about a movement, it's about love, it's about connection. And that's what we gotta do.
Wow. Right.
Harvey Milk today many years later, is remembered for being one of the first openly elected LGBTQ politicians ever. And he's also remembered for the sad story of his assassination. And he's also remembered for some of his famous quotes, such as, "You gotta give them hope." Because his message was always a positive one, it was always hopeful. But something that he's not as famous for, but is one of his most important and enduring legacies, is his belief that groups need to work together, not separately. And this quote that's right here is about his understanding of how we're all connected and how we're stronger together. Minorities are always going to be minorities. Now, at the time, the phrase majority minority didn't exist, but that's what that quote is actually evoking. We're a majority of minorities if we just wake up and then use that power together.
Lesson number 3.
So, Del Martin and Phyllis Lyon, known as Phyllis and Del, they, in the 1950s, started the very first lesbian social and political organization in the history of the United States with some other women. And this was back in 1953, as you see, back when, you know, it was extraordinarily difficult to be out. And they help women understand their lives as queer women, and their lives are sort of not only symbols, but they are paragons of leadership. And we were deeply humbled to have Phyllis and Del together with us in the marriage equality lawsuit when they were in their 80s, and so. They both now passed away, but they were mentors to us. They were leaders. They were people we admired so greatly, and their imprint is on this movement and their vision that it's about everybody. It's truly about everyone. And they were such a powerful voice that women, as much as gay men, symbolized by Harvey Milk, were all in this together as well.
Is this spammer writing to me about elevators?
That's awesome.
But I'm so glad I checked my spam folder because it was a rare jewel waiting there.
Thank you so much. Guys, you guys are the best. Thank you for the history lesson. Thank you for being on Jacquelyn's journey behind the scenes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Which is super awesome. We are in San Francisco, the Castro. If you are down with We Gotta, excuse me, We Got a Voice 2.com, the number 2.com. Please help us donate so we can travel state to state. We can speak to everyday Joes, James, and Jacquelyns just like me, and hopefully just like you too.
By the way, your mask is
And you're in the presence.
So awesome. It's
Yeah.
been a pleasure. Definitely coming again.
And
That's
we
no
are
lie.
going to see
Definitely
you in
coming
New York
again.
as well.
Oh yeah, please.
You love me when my faith was fading. You love me when I fell into the black. You brought me back. You pulled me out of it. The ways of your love, the faith in your voice, the taste of your skin, your grace and your poise. You walk in a room and you light the place up, you do. They all wanna be with you tonight, but they can't 'cause you're mine, and I'm yours, yours. I'm yours, and you're mine.